Alright, so I'm going to try to move sort of slowly to show you this demo because the camera isn't the best. It gets pretty laggy. So this is going to cover carving safety, expectations, etc., printing, cleanup, everything. So it's also a longer video that you can constantly come back to. So this is my bench hook. Remember, the important part that I'm looking for is this part is pushed all the way up against my table. That's what provides that sample. If I don't have, or that resistance, excuse me, if I don't have that when I'm carving, I'm going to put my hand there, and then I'm more likely to accidentally nick my hand, right? So this provides that counter sort of balance, I guess. Sorry, let me do some movement here. So I have my counterbalance so that way I don't feel the need to put my hand there. My block is constantly going to live right up in this area. So let's talk about the transferring and everything first. So I have my sketchbook or a piece of paper, and I'm going to draw about this big, regardless of the size of your block. So I'm going to come up with my design. Your design is going to be more complex. So if you're an 8th grader, your design is that self-selected design, and if you're a 7th grader, your design is related to your favorite place. You are going to draw your design out. It is important to note that you want your design to have really thick, hardy lines, so that way it's easier to carve when you get to that point. So just for demo purposes, I'm just going to pick a heart. Your design is going to be way better than my design, though. That's like kind of a given, right? So I have my heart in my block. So your block is going to be fairly big, about this size for your final, right? Decently large. The sample block I'm doing is pretty tiny. So this is already like a good relationship. I'm going to show you the steps anyway. Reminder though, your block will be a lot bigger. So I'm going to set my block down in my sketchbook, trace around it. So these blocks are hand cut, so they're not perfectly straight, which is totally okay. So I've traced my block. I'm going to redraw my design to fit within that block. Note, there's a little bit of a gap between all of my edges. That'll make it easier. So I have my block. This linoleum has a textured edge to it, so I want to make sure I'm carving on the flat edge. Some, not all, but some of the linoleum is going to have a dark gray and a light gray side. You want to be carving on the dark gray. Okay, so I have my design drawn. If you're in 8th grade, you're coloring it. If you're not, don't worry about it. So, have my design drawn, trace one more time. So this back and forth is going to seem sort of pointless. I promise it's important. So I have my design. That pencil mark is on the top because I just traced over it. I'm going to grab my block, and then this is where kids get confused, or where they make the most mistake. I don't want to redraw, so I'm not going to do that. I want to trace again. The other thing, my design will be backwards. It's going to feel wrong. I need you to trust me. I'm not leading you astray. My design will be backwards. So I'm going to pick up my paper and flip it upside down. So you can see that drawing got way lighter. That's okay. That's what I'm expecting. So I'm going to set it down and retrace over those lines. So what this is doing, the pressure of tracing it is going to push that graphite onto my block. Okay, so now I'm on my block. I don't want to accidentally smudge my lines. So I'm going to, or I don't want to smudge my pencil. So I'm just going to trace over with black marker. Okay, so my design is on my block. Remember, first step, thumbnail out, draw your design. Second step, trace your block and redraw your design to fit. Third step, trace on tracing paper, flip it over, so it's upside down, so the paper's upside down or the image is backwards. Press to transfer and then trace one last time. So now my block is ready and I'm carving. I'm just carving away the white section. So note, I have pushed this all the way up against this wooden section here. You'll hear me say take it home. So that means I'm pushing it all the way up nice and secure here. And I'm just going to carve away the white. So for my design, I want the heart to be a color. And I want the background to be white. Okay? So I'm keeping my hands down here, and I'm just going to carve away. My recommendation for you is you carve in the bigger blank white spaces. I'm staying kind of away from my design to start with because I don't want to like accidentally mess it up. Since this is a new skill, right? So I'm just carving what I want to be white on my final artwork. I'm not carving very deep, you'll see it's, I'm not like carving it all the way out. Basically making a stamp here. So I'm just going to carve, 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 just the white. Okay. I'll be back once I'm done carving. Okay, so I've carved out my design. The key here is you want to make sure there's a little bit of a lip, but try to keep all of this flat. So I'm not carving too deep. I have some hills and valleys. Those might show up. You want to make sure you're keeping it as flat as you possibly can. So these guys here, I call them wormies. These are the stuff I just carved away. This, not going on my floor, not going in my pockets, not going in my neighbor's pockets, not going in my mouth, not going in my nose, ear, not going in the back of the tool, not in the recycling. The only spot this is going is into my garbage.